Welcome back, folks, to the Poorly Educated Podcast. Today in the news edition, where we read the headlines so you don't gotta, and then we explain them about as accurately as Uncle Randy's GPS after 3 Bud Lights. It's October 29th, 2025, and the world's gone crazier than a possum in a moonshine still. Trump's out there trading computer chips for soybeans. The Fed's trying to fix the economy with duct tape and prayer. Elon's building an encyclopedia out of his own ego. And Hurricane Melissa just reminded everyone that maybe Mother Nature's the only woman Trump can't talk over. So grab a biscuit, hold on to your mullet, and let's dive into the dumbest smart news you'll hear all week. Segment 1. The Gyeongju Summit. Trump meets Xi, probably for the soybeans and a third term. Now apparently President Trump's over in South Korea having a historic meeting with Xi Jinping, which sounds fancy till you realize the whole deal boils down to soybeans for super chips. Trump says it's gonna be a great deal for both, which is what he said before he bought Trump Steaks and Truth Social, and look how them turned out. See, he's offering to ease tariffs on China if they crack down on fentanyl chemicals, which honestly sounds like trading Diet Mountain Dew for meth lab cleanup. In return, China might stop holding rare earth minerals hostage and let us buy them again, so we can build our super-duper AI chips without melting down refrigerators for parts. But here's the kicker. Trump's also thinking about letting China buy NVIDIA's fancy Blackwell processors. These are so advanced, they make my grandma's pacemaker feel like a Tamagotchi. If he pulls that off, we'll be the first country in history to lose a Cold War by accidentally installing the enemy's software update. And in between all this, Trump's still talking about a third term. You ever notice how he mentions the Constitution the same way my cousin mentions his ex? Yeah, it's a real shame we can't make it work again. He says he'd love to do it, then admits he can't, then goes right back to floating ideas like run as VP, and then oops, I tripped into the Oval Office. Buddy, that's not strategy. That's what we call pulling a Waffle House shift swap on the Founding Fathers. If I were Xi Jinping, I wouldn't even know what to do with that info. Do you negotiate with a man who might still be in power in 2030? Or might be living at Mar-a-Lago with a VR headset and a bag of Doritos? Either way, Xi's probably thinking, this guy's our best AI weapon. He can crash markets just by tweeting. Segment 2. Economic crossroads. The Fed cuts rates while the government cuts lunch. Now, the economy right now's looking like my Uncle Bobby's transmission. Technically moving, but you don't want to hear the noise it's making. The Federal Reserve's cutting interest rates again, saying it'll stimulate growth. I reckon that's a fancy way of saying, we're about to inflate the balloon and hope it don't pop. Jerome Powell came out and said they're dropping rates by 0.25%, which means banks will still charge you 18% on a credit card, but now they'll smile while they do it. Inflation's supposedly cooling down to 2.8%. But have you seen the price of bologna? I saw a pack at Walmart that cost so much, they had it behind plexiglass like a Rolex. And while the Fed's playing doctor, the White House is playing hide and seek with the paychecks. We're 5 weeks into this shutdown and folks ain't getting paid. SNAP benefits are getting cut, meaning millions of Americans ain't got no food stamps come November. The USDA said, sorry, the money ain't there. Which is kind of funny since we got billions for warships but not for lunch meat. You got judges saying Trump can't fire federal workers during a shutdown because it's politically motivated. Yeah, no kidding. The only time Trump ain't motivated by politics is when he's motivated by mirror lighting. Then Amazon decided to join the party by firing 14,000 corporate workers. They said it's not 'cause they're struggling, it's 'cause they're investing in AI. Translation: we ain't broke. We just found a cheaper employee who don't need bathroom breaks. Jeff Bezos probably looking down from space thinking, my robots work harder and don't unionize. Man, if this trend keeps up, America ain't gonna be the land of the free. It's gonna be the land of the freelanced. You don't get laid off no more. You get algorithmically optimized out of existence. And somehow, the Fed thinks lowering rates'll fix that. That's like trying to stop a tornado with a box fan. Segment 3. Projecting power. The U.S. brings back the Caribbean crisis, now with extra missiles. So get this. The U.S. has deployed the USS Gerald Ford Carrier Group and a whole fleet of planes to the Caribbean. They say it's a counter-narcotics operation, which is like saying my uncle was studying crops when the DEA raided his barn. They're calling it a war on narco-terrorism. 'Cause apparently, we ran out of regular wars and had to make new flavors. Now Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says these drug cartels are unlawful combatants, which is Washington code for folks we can bomb without asking Congress first. 10 strikes already, 57 dead, and Trump says the land's next. Buddy, that's not a foreign policy, that's a GTA mission objective. The UN called it a violation of international law, and Venezuela called it a hostile provocation. Meanwhile, Trump called it Tuesday. He's acting like the Caribbean's his own private risk board. You know he thinks the B-52s are just his backup band. They're using the old 9/11 authorization for use of military force to go after drug cartels. That law was meant for Al-Qaeda, not El Chapo and his cousin with a canoe. At this rate, we'll be sending SEAL Team 6 after anyone caught with a suspiciously large piñata. Segment 4. The Middle East meltdown. U.S. coordination now comes with airstrikes. So remember that Gaza ceasefire everybody was cheering? Yeah, well that lasted about as long as a bag of Doritos at a LAN party. Israel hit Gaza with heavy airstrikes again, killing over 100, and they say they did it in full coordination with the U.S. Translation: we held their beer. Trump said Israel should hit back and told Hamas if they don't behave, they'll be terminated. Man, this guy talks like he's watching The Apprentice, Middle East edition. Tonight, Hamas, you're fired. Into the sun. The U.S. used to be a mediator. Now we're the hype man for a bomber run. We ain't even pretending to be neutral anymore. If this keeps up, the State Department's gonna change its logo to a fist bump. And somewhere in the background, you know J.D. Vance is trying to figure out if he can make a podcast about it. Segment 5. NASA's quiet boom and Elon's loud brain. Finally, some good news that don't involve explosions or tariffs. NASA's new X-59 jet just had its first flight, and they say it don't make a sonic boom, just a sonic thump. Buddy, that's what I call my drunk neighbor getting off his tractor. They're saying this plane might let us fly supersonic over land again. Imagine getting from New York to LA in 2 hours. That's great, till you realize your baggage still gonna take 3 days and a layover in Dallas. NASA worked with Lockheed Martin on this, so you know it's expensive. They ain't just testing sound barriers, they're testing the budget barrier. But hey, I'd rather hear about quiet jets than loud politicians. Meanwhile, Elon Musk's new AI project, Grokipedia, is supposed to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Problem is, half its articles are copied from Wikipedia. So basically he made a clone that plagiarizes its parent and then calls it biased. That's like me stealing my cousin's Chevy, painting it green, and saying I invented the truck. Wikipedia said, "Our knowledge is and always will be human," which is a classy way of saying, Elon, bless your heart. And get this, Grokipedia literally uses Wikipedia data to train itself. It's like building a robot out of your ex's Facebook posts and then saying, she's the fake one. At this rate, by 2030, we'll have AI arguing with AI about which AI wrote the truth about AI. And the rest of us will be sitting there like, can y'all just make one that folds laundry? Segment 6. Hurricane Melissa and the World Series. Two different kinds of storms. Now we gotta talk about Hurricane Melissa. Category 5. Meaner than a Florida HOA president. It hit Jamaica like a blender full of concrete. The worst storm in their history. Climate scientists say it's from hotter ocean water, which, shocker, is caused by global warming. But down here, we call that lake season in November. The storm's now hitting Cuba as a Category 3, leaving destruction everywhere. I'll say this. Mother Nature's been throwing hands this year like she's in a WWE tag match. I wouldn't be surprised if she starts naming her storms after Congress next. Coming up next, hurricane bureaucracy. And if you need something lighter, the World Series is tied 2-2 between the Toronto Blue Jays and the LA Dodgers. Yeah, that's right. A Canadian team's trying to take America's pastime. First our healthcare jokes, now our baseball. Game 3 went 18 innings, which is basically 2 games and a nap. Shohei Ohtani's playing both pitcher and batter, which sounds exhausting unless you're AI. I'm rooting for whoever brings snacks. Outro. So that's today's world, folks. Trump trading tech secrets for soybeans, the Fed trying to fix a busted economy with duct tape, Elon plagiarizing humanity, and Mother Nature reminding us who's boss. If that ain't the perfect metaphor for 2025, I don't know what is. Thanks for listening to the Poorly Educated Podcast, where we turn global crises into front porch conversations and still somehow make less sense than the actual government. Remember, stay safe, stay skeptical, and if you see Trump in Korea holding a microchip and a soybean, just smile and wave. Till next time, this is your favorite underqualified news anchor signing off. Keep your biscuits buttered and your facts half-baked.